Gather round, children, gather round and hear my story about bots overrunning my Shopify store. So this started back in April. I got the first high fraud order in April. I'll look it up right now. Was it before April? No. April 15th. And it wasn't even a high risk of fraud. It was a medium risk of fraud, which, sometimes, maybe it's actually fraud, but sometimes, they're just buying something for a friend. So they buy it and then they want it shipped to the person they're buying it for, so then it shows as medium risk. But this was the first one, April 15th. Actually, yeah, I had several on April 15th. There were 3 medium risk orders and 1 high risk order. And these orders were always the same product. I have this little Grim Reaper ghost sewing pattern. It's just a quick little craft you can do for Halloween, So it only costs $1.75. And so every single time that they were putting in orders, it was for this $1.75 product, digital product. I think the fact that it was a digital product is also important because they were definitely testing credit cards. So since it was the same product every single time that they were doing these high-risk fraudulent orders, I thought, I'll disable that particular product. It's not a super big seller anyway. So I disabled that product and they just targeted a different one, which was $2 instead of $1.75. So I asked a friend who knows a lot about Shopify, hey, what should I do? Because I'm getting these fraudulent orders and of course I'm refunding them as immediately because I don't want to get a chargeback that's $15 per order. So she told me to set up a flow, which I did, and I will show you on the screen what it looks like. So this is a Shopify app. It's free, not a monthly fee or anything. And it lets you kind of automate different tasks. So fulfill an order, immediately, or hold a payment on an order, hold the fulfillment on an order, analyze the risk of it. If it's high risk of fraud, cancel the order, things like that. So I set up the flow. Since I have digital products and, part of the thing that was happening with me is I couldn't cancel the orders. Oh, what's this? I have a fraudulent order. It's a high risk of fraud. Shopify says I should cancel this order. Well, what happens when I try to cancel it? It says I can't. And I think that's because it's a digital product that's already been fulfilled. So all I can do is refund it, which means that I have to pay the processing fee. So I set up this flow and, I sell the digital products, so it was being fulfilled immediately. It sends an email to the customer. So in order for the flow to work, you have to go in and set it up to manually capture payment. And I want people to be able to get their digital download right away, because that's one of the perks of buying a digital sewing pattern is you get it right away and you can print it out immediately. So I don't want to have to be manually going through and sending everybody emails with their patterns, So I had to figure out how to stop the fulfillment from happening first. So I did the flow to hold the fulfillment, analyze the risk, and if it was a high risk order, just don't even fulfill it. Wait till I look at it. So that worked for a little bit. I also installed a bot blocking app. They all cost a little bit of money each month, but I figured hey, it's worth it if it can stop these fraudulent orders, because I was waking up to 10, 20 orders per night. Or I would just be sitting and, trying to do my work, and all of a sudden, cha-ching, ching, ching, and it's like 15 fraudulent orders that all happened at once. So I installed the bot blocker, and one of the things that I did, I didn't want to go and put in like all the different IP addresses blocking those. It was a different IP address every time, so it's not like that would have done anything. So pretty much almost all of the orders were coming from Villa Rica, Georgia. So I tried to block that specific area. Of course, that didn't work because they're not actually coming from Georgia. It's just the IP that makes it look like it is. So that didn't work. I could see the analytics of the, bot activity and legitimate activity and like block VPNs, block proxies, all that stuff, which I did. And I thought that I was safe. I didn't get any fraudulent orders for a few days. And I thought, okay, so that works. I was wrong. Suddenly I was getting customers saying that they could not access my store. They get like an access denied page. I tried to add their IPs to the whitelist, and they still couldn't get access to my site. I asked the app for support, and they basically told me I need to upgrade to the highest paid tier of their app. And of course, I did end up getting more fraudulent orders. So clearly that bot blocker app wasn't working. So I ended up messing around with the flows a little bit more. I was like adding more flows and tweaking them because every day I just dreaded looking at my Shopify order list. And I also began to absolutely despise the little Reaper sewing pattern that I had. So one night, I'm sleeping and I have my internet turned off at night. But I woke up in the morning, turned the internet on, and looked at my Shopify, and I had over 60 fraudulent orders. 60 orders, all $1.75 each. And because I had been tweaking the flows without, professional guidance, the payments on all of those 60 orders actually went through. So I ended up owing about almost $30 in processing fees. So yeah, all of these fraud orders were costing me money. I had to go and refund every single one because I did not want someone to do a chargeback and cost me even more money. So yeah, my flows were messed up. That was my mistake. I'm not good at asking for help with things because I'm stubborn and kind of not the smartest. I even got a phone call from someone whose card was charged, and they were like, "What is this $1.75 charge on my card?" And I was like, "You need to get a new card. You need to cancel that card and get a new one, please. It's being used to test orders." You see what they're doing, why they are only buying these very low cost and digital products is because they are testing stolen credit cards. Probably what happens is they buy like a list of credit card numbers or something on the dark web or wherever they get it from. And they have a bot that runs a program or something that just finds these stores with these low-cost digital products. They test the card, and then they say, okay, that one worked. That one went through. We can use it to buy bigger stuff. So yeah, it's just terrible. And I don't know why Shopify doesn't seem to be doing anything about it. Ever since like my problem started, I have seen tons of other sellers with this same issue. Like, I'm on the Shopify, like, Facebook groups, I'm on, like, Shopify Reddit, and I'm seeing people having the same issues. Like, look at this list of customers. These aren't even real customers, and they're all, like, John Smith or some other, like, name. Like, they're just going into the checkout, putting, like, a fake email, and it creates a customer. Like, why? So anyway, I figured out my mistake on the flows. I corrected everything, and it was all working to halt fulfillment of the digital products and not capture payment on medium and high risk orders. But by then, I was fed up with all of these bot orders or fraud orders or whatever. I uninstalled the bot blocker app because that was clearly useless. I made my store password protected overnight just so I could sleep without having to worry that I was going to wake up to a bunch of fraudulent orders in the morning. And I decided to give my store a facelift with a new template and try to figure out what to do. And I did seriously contemplate going to a different platform. There's a bunch of different platforms where you can build a website, build a store. I really thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to cancel my Shopify and build on a different platform. But at the same time, I thought, hey, they might have the same issue. If not now, down the line, who knows? And it was just a lot of work building this Shopify site. I've been on Shopify since 2019. So there's a lot of my stuff like stored in there and a lot of, what I've built up. And there's also like integrations that I use that I wouldn't have access to on other platforms. So it was kind of like, okay, I can't give in to these orders. I can't give in to these bots. I need to do something. So while I was researching around, I actually saw that some people built an app, a pretty newish app, and it actually connects your store to a firewall to basically just shut the bots out entirely. Because, not even just the fraudulent orders, the other issue was all of these bots would come into the checkout and put, their fake email address, or maybe a real one, who knows, but they would put their email into the checkout page and then, not buy anything. So it was creating all of these fake customers. And there is a wasp in here. But they would create all of these fake customers, and then, that's not great for email marketing and stuff because, it will just bounce or not be opened from these fake email addresses. So yeah, the app that I found, it's called Armex, and yeah, it's great. These amazing people built this app to connect you to a firewall. I'm like not sponsored or anything. I've had it on my store since probably a little over a month ago. And, I haven't had any bots like at all since I got connected. I even asked for help, getting it all set up, and they were really fast in replying and super nice and helped me get it set up. And even my customer list has been cleaned up. I look at my customers list and it's mostly people who actually bought stuff or actually wanted to subscribe. So that's my story. And if you are having a similar issue, definitely check out that app. I will link it in the description. Or even just set up the flows. At least having the flow set up will not authorize the payment, so you can at least go in and cancel the orders and not be charged the processing fee. But yeah, if making this video helps at least one Shopify store owner, I will be really happy. It was just really nerve-wracking and upsetting the whole time that it was happening, which was like which was like April 15th was the first like order I had, and then it was all through May, and I had some in June. I think that's when all the like 60 orders like at once came in. It was in June. So yeah. Okay, hi. So if you made it this far, thank you very much. I usually do sewing content, making plushies, sewing patterns, stuff like that. That's why I'm just going to show some of me sewing on the screen right now. But yeah, when I was editing this, I kind of realized I never really introduced myself. So yeah, I'm Dolphin Wing. I do plushies and sewing patterns. If you're one of my subscribers that was expecting a sewing video, sorry about that. I'm gonna be going back to my usual content. And this was happening in the summer months, but I didn't really have a chance to sit down and edit this all until now. But I'm still seeing some people with the same issue, so yeah, I hope it helps someone out there. So yeah, if you want to stick around, I'd be glad to have you. If not, no worries, and hope to see you in the next video. So have a great day. Bye bye now.